What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I am your host, Rex Ruger, and that is 3 X's in Rex. That is my partner over there, the great Alexis Arguello Puppet.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benjis. We're back with another episode.
And for our viewers out there, again, giving you what you expect from the Off the Couch Boxing brand, and that is more legends. Lo and behold, it's all we rub elbows with. That's it. At the time of this recording, we are a few days away from the big Edwin Dos Santos and Shakur Stevenson card. That's going to be a very good card.
Is there fights on tonight?
Yeah, I think there's probably something on tonight. I can't remember like what I saw, but yeah, probably something I'll have to hack into one of those, naughty sites that we don't talk about. But hey, stop charging the boxing fan, the working man, the blue collar man so much damn money. Our guest is here now, so let's get down and chop it up with him, man. Let's dispense of the formalities and get down to it, man. Enough of this bullshit. Get my old man Specs on here. See if we can get my man in here.
Goes.
Let's pin him. Jesse James LEIJA. How you doing, buddy?
Mike. How you doing, brother? Doing all right?
Good. Oh, yeah. Everything's great, man. Everything's great. So for people that don't know, and it's all boxing fans that follow this, so unless you've lived under a goddamn rock for the last 30 years in boxing, everybody should know Jesse James LEIJA, the Texas Tornado, former WBC super featherweight champ. How's everything going in your world, man?
Really great. Busy as heck, as always.
Yeah.
Just got back in from the gym about 30 minutes ago. Busy day at the gym. Every day is a busy day. Sundays are my only days off, and I love Sundays.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, I want to ask, because when I was looking at your resume, just a cavalcade of amazing names on your resume. Win or lose, you've got all the fighters of your generation on there. But particularly, I'm interested in the Professor, Azuma Nelson.
Yes.
You went one more fight with him than even a trilogy. Why 4 fights with him?
Well, you know what? That's a great question. But because the first 3 were split, it was 1-1. So
yeah, that's true. There was a draw.
We had to have that 4th one, and it was a great fight. He came in strong, and the thing is that people don't say, "Oh, you beat the guy," but like. Well, I don't think the age had anything to do with it, because he was 35, I think.
Yeah.
And I forgot whatever the age was. But he had just stopped me the fight before.
Yeah.
And the first 2, he stopped me in the 3rd fight. So in the 4th fight, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna go through that again. Like, you just don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
You get all these negative thoughts in your head. It happens to every fighter. We think of these things like what if, and you gotta try to figure out how to overcome that with positive thoughts. But I was like, man, he just knocked me out. I was like, he hit me in the 1st round in the 3rd fight, put me down to like somebody shot me with a shotgun. I dropped. He caught me with the overhand right that I thought he was going to come up with the uppercut. No, wait. I thought he was coming up with the uppercut, and I protected the uppercut. He came with the overhand right. Anyhow, I was out on my feet for the next 3 or 4 or 5 rounds. And we went 6 rounds, and they stopped me because I had a cut, but I was out on my feet. I didn't remember the fight. Yeah. And so the 4th fight was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna come after me again. And I had a great fight, put a great fight together, and I beat him. And
speaking of great fights, I want to go to the opposite end of what I, as a pure boxing fan, consider great fights. These hybrid matches that we just saw, like where we see a mixed martial artist like Ngannou against Fury, or even these YouTube fights. Where do you stand on those? You like these? Are they good for boxing, or are they a detriment?
They're a detriment. I don't. It's because it's not boxing. It's boxing, but these guys are so at a disadvantage, all these MMA guys, because think about this. And I always tell people this, and I'm a big fan of MMA. I love mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
It's, I grew up when I was a kid, I was doing karate because of Bruce Lee. Who's still like one of my idols.
Who wasn't, right? Who wasn't?
Yeah, who wasn't?
We all wanted to be him.
And even today, if you study Bruce Lee, he was so way ahead of his time, just like Ali. So way ahead of their time in the way they thought, the mental toughness. And anyhow, But there's and MMA. I don't like to say UFC because UFC is a brand, but in MMA, you have a chance to be good at three things: grappling, kicking, or punching.
Right.
And boxing, you only have punching.
Yeah.
So you only got to be good at that to be a good fighter. So MMA fighters are at a disadvantage. That's why they're not all that. They're not great strikers. Conor McGregor is supposed to be one of the best strikers of MMA. Look what happened when he fought Mayweather. Couldn't even touch the guy.
Yeah.
Couldn't even touch the guy. And so this last fight with Fury, yeah, he caught him with a good punch. He's a 270-pound guy. He's going to be strong no matter what. And, Fury got up and beat him, And but anyhow, I hate to see these fights where fighters fighting MMA guy or a YouTuber like that. It's not real boxing. It's not. It's just not real to me. So I don't even watch it.
Well, to take it a step further with that, there's actually a fight coming up. Jake Paul is going to fight an actual boxer. I forget what the guy's. I think his last name is August. I can't remember what his name is though. But he's a professional fighter. He's 10-1, and
10-1.
So you put Jake Paul next to him on the paper, and you write 7-1 for Jake Paul. But Jake Paul knocked out Nate Robinson as one.
Yeah, nobody's. Yeah.
So that doesn't count, right? Like he's 7-1 against who?
Yeah.
He hasn't beat a fighter yet. He lost to Tyson Fury's brother, and
that was the
Tyson
only almost fighter.
And that's marginal.
Tyson Fury's brother's not a good fighter at all.
Right.
You look at his record; he's 7-0 or 7-1, and he hadn't fought anybody. Whatever. He's he's a young guy. Come on, it's a joke.
It seems like what happened is that a lot of people seem to lead with their heart with this Ngannou fight because of the backstory, because of the hard luck past and the history and how far Ngannou got to come. But realistically, though, he did lose that fight. It's very polarizing because people fall in love with the story and the romance of it all. Like, this poor kid, and he came this far. But that one knockdown was really all that he did the whole fight.
If you're a fight fan, that fight wasn't close.
Exactly. If you know boxing. But who's watching these fights? All the MMA guys, and they're all watching, he should have won because he dropped him one time. It's a 10-round fight. It's only 1 point.
Right.
It's a 1 point. Or 2 points because it's 10-8. But I'll guarantee you Tyson Fury didn't even train for this fight. I'll guarantee you
he didn't look
it. He came in at his heaviest weight.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't look it.
Before you go, because I don't know where you're gonna go with this, or if you're gonna go back to his career or off his career. I'm curious because I was reading about your career, and we had Hector Camacho Jr. on here, and I was just curious about that fight just because of the DQ and everything. I know it was an accidental headbutt, I believe, but I know it went 5 rounds, and normally they won't no contest something after 4 rounds. So I'm curious how your camp was able to get that done and turn to a no contest.
Well, you know what? That's a great question because it was weird how it happened. They called it a win for him or a no contest at the fight. A win for him,
They called it a win for him, and then they changed it.
Yeah, and then they changed it. So what we did was we protested because of what happened in the cut. I mean, I was cut twice as bad as he was, and he had a very small cut. It wasn't even bleeding. But, I really believe that I like Hector. Hector and I became friends.
Great
we talk a lot. He even lives he lives in Texas now. At Fort Hood, which is a big army base here in Texas. So anyways, I guarantee one of the trainers saw that I was coming on strong. I still had something left at that age. Yeah. And he was panicking because of the cut. I had never been cut before. And I think they talked him into, hey, that's it. Don't call the fight. We'll call the fight because of the cut, whatever.
Right.
And it backfired on him. But so what we did, we protested afterwards that the referee said the fight can continue. So here's what happened. The referee said the fight can continue, that he was good to go. And when we were ready to fight, and they stopped it. And so what they came out and said was that the bell sounded for the 6th round to go ahead and start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But the doctor was still in the corner, and it should not have sounded.
Okay.
So that was their excuse of no contest.
Okay. That makes sense.
But that's what happened.
And as I mentioned, with all these big names on your resume, and as I said, win, lose, or draw, I mean, Arturo Gatti, Costa Tszyu, Camacho, Mosley, De La Hoya. You might give a different answer or one that we don't expect because we ask this question a lot, and sometimes it's somebody on the resume that we don't think of. But who was your toughest fight? Who do you think gave you the best fight?
there's so many fighters out there that people may not even know that gave me the toughest time just for whatever was happening. Like I had this guy, I can't even think of his name right now, but it was already in my 8th or 9th or 10th fight, somewhere there, where I'm cut so bad. My eyes are both swollen shut. I couldn't see anything, and those were tough fights. And then I threw a punch, not even knowing where it was at, and knocked him out. That was a tough fight. Another tough fight with the Zuma Nelson fights. All 42 rounds with the Zuma Nelson were tough. Oscar fight wasn't hard at all. I lost the fight, and I lost fast, right? I lost in the 3rd round, and then after that, my corner stopped it because it was just Oscar at 135 was an incredible punch. I was sparring with 147 pounders, and they weren't bothering me at all. Again, they were with Oscar at 135, different story. But there was quick. Shane Mosley was a tough fight because, and man, in fact, this just happened recently. I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months ago, that Shane Mosley came out on some story or whatever talking about that I gave him his toughest fight at 135. Wow. And I'm like, all these years later, I'm like, woo, man.
Yeah.
I gave him a tough fight, but things happen, circumstances happen. I had a 3-week notice to fight Shane Mosley. 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I had to drop 20 pounds. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Had to drop 17 pounds in 21 days.
Not to cut you off here, man, but I didn't watch that fight, but I thought I read that you were dropped several times in that fight. That's probably why you kept getting back up and getting back in this guy's face and fighting.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I got dropped, maybe 3 or 4 times, and it was just from fatigue. I was so, and Shane Mosley he's a great fighter, and I'm telling you, but I never got hurt from punch. I never got hurt from being punched hard. I just got, and I'm not saying he doesn't hit hard. I just think he didn't catch me right, or my defense was okay, but I was just worn out so bad that after a while I was done. And he said I gave one of his toughest fights, and I'm like, oh man, that's a great compliment coming from him. And that if I'm gonna lose a fight, I'll take that as a
absolutely, it's a badge of honor.
First place, second place ribbon,
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of those things in a fight where, remember when Wilder laid Fury out in round 12? He didn't expect him to keep getting up.
Yeah.
When you just see a guy getting up, you're like, what do I do to this guy?
Yeah. He really did sit up like the Undertaker in wrestling.
Yeah, what do I do?
Right, exactly. So another fight, and people who gave me one of my toughest fights was, and a lot of things happen in circumstances with every fighter. Think about this: you spar between 100 and 120 rounds of sparring with guys that you pay to come in and give you their best.
Right.
You're gonna get hurt in some of these sparring sessions.
Sure.
We a lot of fighters fight hurt all the time. The last 4 years of my career, last 3 years of my career, I was fighting with a separated rib that never got better. It was separated from the sternum, right at the top of my chest, and it never got better. And every time and they talked about it when I fought Shane Mosley, they talked about it when I fought Gotti, and when I fought Gotti at the end, he caught me with the uppercut right at the end of the 4th round, right on the rib, and I went back to my corner and I couldn't breathe, and Ronnie should have said, "I'm going to stop it after this round. Go after him." So I went after him and just tried to knock him out. That's why you see I was going after him, because I couldn't breathe. Yeah, and I got caught. And got stopped.
Well, Arturo likes that kind of fight, though.
But something I got to ask you something about Arturo, just because we've had somebody on here who fought him before, and obviously you fought him, and the unforeseen circumstances with him, passing or whatever. Like, what's your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of speculation, involved with his untimely passing. A lot of people don't know what to make of that.
What's my thought on him passing or
on his passing? Yeah.
Yeah, like on his passing, just because there was people that said suicide, people that said, maybe he was possibly murdered.
Yeah. Well, my thinking and my what I've learned and what I've talked about to other people, I talked to my mind went blank right now. Mickey Ward, with Mickey Ward.
Okay,
we talked about some stuff, but I think Mickey people, they think that someone killed him. They think that, and then I go back to the facts of what I've heard and what I've read is that people are saying no, he was hurt and he was killed because he had a big gash in the back of his head, and then he was hanging. They thought that's what happened. But I said, well, have anyone read the story? Because the story is that him and his wife, or his girlfriend at the time, I forgot if they were married or not, they got into a big fight, and they were both either drunk or intoxicated, or they were both on drugs or whatever. Gotti was known from
big partier,
big party and drugs. That he hits her, right? Drops her out in public. Okay, and I hate talking bad about someone like that, whatever. But
that's pretty much public knowledge, though. That's public knowledge.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying this. So he hits her. This is from our story. It's all publicized of what happened.
Yep.
He hits her. She falls down. People are watching. They start yelling at him and throwing rocks at him. A rock hit him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
He runs off back to their condo, to their house. He's out drinking. He goes out, whatever happens. She's upstairs. He comes in, and she doesn't come downstairs. She comes downstairs early in the morning. He's hanging.
Yeah.
That's from what I know.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say. Because from
We're not
what I read,
know.
what I know.
Yeah. We may never know.
So people thinking that he was murdered was because, why was he bleeding back of his head? Well, that's from that rock that people threw at him for hitting her.
Yes, I'm actually glad I asked you because I'd never heard about the rock.
Yeah. I knew that there was some kind of an altercation out in public. I had read that story about bystanders, confronting him, while he was having that fight with his wife. I didn't know about the rock part, but I knew that it had gotten physical with some of the bystanders.
Yeah, and someone threw a rock at him for whatever because he's fighting, but that's what happened, and that's all I know. So I can say if there was anyone else there or anything else happened, but that's all I know. And it's unfortunate that it even happened because a great fighter who, people loved.
Yeah, loved.
Blood and guts warrior.
Yeah, the blood and guts warrior. Rest in peace to Arturo Gatti. So I got to ask you, the most funniest picture that I've seen recently that involved you is you helping these San Antonio Spurs get ready for the season. And there's little, short Jesse James LEIJA with big old Victor Wembanyama. How do you make that connection? How do you get called upon to help out the Spurs?
Well, I've been training the Spurs. This is our 19th or 20th year training the Spurs.
Okay.
And we started in '99, and then I think we started back
the Admiral.
Yeah, we trained David.
Yeah.
And so remember the lockout year? Year?
Yep.
Okay, so when the lockout year was going on, they couldn't go to the gym. They couldn't do anything. So Popovich had the trainers call me and asked me if I would do, because I ran my sprints at the track and did all that stuff. So we there's a funny story with that too. So they said, yeah. I said, come on, have them come on. It's a gym here, a stadium called Alamo Stadium here in town. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I would do all my sprint work, my speed work, and all that. So the Spurs came and joined me doing the sprint work because they were going to get ready for the season. It was the lockout year, right? So they were doing my sprints and the whole bit, running back and forth. And whatever I did, they had to do. And they were dying because they're not used to that type of running. And I was going to do some sprints up and down the football field. So I would go 100 yards, sprint, sideways, and then run backwards 100 yards and sideways forward 100 yards and the whole bit. And so Will Perdue comes up to me, and Will Perdue is 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
He goes, he didn't want to run. He goes, James, the court is only 90 feet. And he goes, I don't see why we have to run 100 yards. And I said, okay, Will. And, Will's 7 foot tall. I'm looking at it. I said, how long do you think a boxing ring is? I said, get out there and run.
Yeah.
I'm doing it from the boxing ring. You can do it the basketball court.
It might be 90 feet, but he's going to run up and down it a lot of times in the course of the game.
Exactly. So, we laughed in the whole bit, but they did everything with, I would be running with David and Tim Duncan and Will Perdue next to me, these giants, and I'm running in the whole bit. So they loved it. And so after that, we started doing boxing in the summertime. So for the last 19 years, we have been training the Spurs during the summer for boxing for 2 or 3 months.
So what's your take on this Wembanyama kid? A lot's being made out of him. Do you see a lot of athleticism out of him? You work with him.
He picked up boxing within 5 to 10 minutes. He picked it up.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how's the pop?
No, he did it well. He's not really hitting so hard, but just the technique, the movement, the understanding. understanding the body movement. He picked it up like that. I'm like, and the only one there's a Tim Duncan picked it up very fast as well. He loved Tim Duncan's an MMA guy. He loves MMA. That's his thing. He kicks it like crazy. He has a kick that's 6 foot up in the air. But Wemby picked it up. There's only one other guy that picked it up that fast, and that was Manu. Manu picked it up just in one session.
Ginobili, huh?
Ginobili. Yeah. Hey, but I gotta say, before we go away from San Antonio Spurs, man, shout out Tim Duncan, because he is really top 5 all-time probably, and nobody gives him any recognition for that.
Yeah, because he's not a talker. He just doesn't.
Yeah, he's a silent killer.
And I'm not surprised, because a lot was always made about how good his footwork was down in the post. So it would seem like he would be good at combat sports, because footwork is a big part of it.
It's all. I mean, first of all, in boxing, what do you learn? You learn how to move your feet. That's so important to move your legs and stay balanced and stay movement. Where you could punch and still have your feet under you.
Right.
And Tim's he's a perfectionist too, though. Everything he does, he wants to perfect. He just doesn't just go at. So here's the story. I'm training Tim, and we're going over and over about a certain drill, like a 1-2 right uppercut, 1-2 right uppercut, and he couldn't bend his knees very well. Remember, he had a real bad knee.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't bend his knees. I said, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "No, I want to do it right. Let's keep going." I'm like, "Whoa!" Like, he wants to get this. We're just doing an uppercut, right? But I said, "You got to drop you got to bend your knees and come up with your legs." And I said, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "No, let's do it right."
Yeah.
Whoa,
Perfectionist.
Perfectionist, man. Perfectionist.
Such an overlooked elite player in NBA history.
Yeah. That kind of work ethic is what set him apart.
I got to ask you,
and he's a great guy. Tim's a great guy.
I got to ask you, man, being around Texas, you're a Texas guy. What's up with Errol Spence, man? Where's he going?
So I've met Errol Spence before. Super nice guy when he first was coming out.
He's my favorite fighter.
Yeah, he's just a great fighter. I don't know, man. Something happened. So here's a story. Not the story, but so he's fought 4 times in the last 6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
After his injury, this is only his second fight since the wreck. Something's not right. When I saw him coming out of that, so many fighters that there's something wrong with him. Something happened.
Yeah.
Whether it was in the accident, but he fought afterwards and did well, but something was wrong. I don't know what it was. I'm not near him.
Well, you're not alone in that sentiment, because a lot of other people have said the same thing.
Something's not right, and I hope that they fix it, whatever it was, because something was not right. Maybe he was sick. Maybe something happened. Maybe he had a flu. Maybe he got hurt and dropped in sparring, didn't recover from it, and fought. Because I gotta tell you, we fight hurt.
Yeah, I think it's nice for the boxing community to hear from fighters that kind of information, though, because a lot of times, like in these boxing groups and stuff on social media, a lot of people are really quick to judge and like, "Oh, Errol Spence lost. Stop making up excuses." Like, I don't think there really was excuses there. I think he lost the fight, but something definitely wasn't right with him when he came.
I mean, just walking out, I said something's not right.
Yeah,
he didn't have that look in it. He had a weird look in his eyes, like a zoned out or just not something.
He looked high.
But then, he looked that way. But I mean, we're not. That's
no, he wasn't. I don't think he was high.
But something was wrong. Yeah. But the thing is, man, you have trainers and you have people looking out for you for this. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they all knew something that we didn't. Something was going on, and it's sad.
We've even had people on the show here that said that if he was under their tutelage and under their direction, they would tell him to hang it up. Though his body's been through a lot with the detached retina, and I mean, you wreck a car like that, and I've seen the footage of that car wreck. Usually, most people don't even walk away from that, much less fight again.
Yeah, he's lucky he's alive. Yeah,
he is lucky.
And he made his money. He made money, but and then I heard the other day he's gonna up for the fight again?
The rematch, yeah.
I don't think you should do that.
No. Regardless of the weight, you just shouldn't do it.
Yeah, but who's gonna let him do that? Like after that, he needs to be seen by a doctor, and someone, not their doctor, but a doctor, just a random doctor, to say him and said, "Man,
somebody with no dog in the fight," right?
Yeah, really, exactly. This guy.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when you look back at
the commission, I think the commission would do the right thing. The Texas Commission.
Now, when you look back at your career, are there any guys like I've talked several times here about the names on your resume? Are there any fights that you wanted to have happen that didn't manifest? Any opponents out there?
Right? It's got to be Floyd. It's got to be
Floyd.
Well, no. Actually, if I would have beat Gotti, I would have fought Floyd.
Yeah.
but Floyd never came around. He was after me already. He wasn't during my time.
Okay.
He was just starting to make it big.
Okay.
But we wanted to fight Gotti at 130 pounds, and it never materialized. We couldn't get that fight. We wanted that fight, and we tried for it, but just it wouldn't happen. But I fought him when I was 38.
Yeah.
And I was up there. And I mean, it was my last fight. You know how I always tell people. So I fought Francisco Bojado the fight before Gotti.
Right.
That's when Gotti fought Leonard Doreen, and Gotti stopped him. And I fought in the undercard with Bojado. Bojado, and people thought that Bojado was the next Oscar de la Hoya.
Right. Yep.
And rightfully so. If you think of the pedigree he had, everything he had, Bojado had power, he had speed, he had technique, he had his combination, he had defense, he had it all. I'm telling you, he's one of the best guys I fought. One of the best guys I fought. I fought a lot of great fighters, right?
Yeah.
He's one of the best as well. But the thing that he lacked on that fight was dedication.
Yeah.
I think he got too much too soon and was mainly gonna go on his talents and didn't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
Plus, he was gonna fight a 38-year-old too.
Yeah.
Remember, he dropped me in the second round of that fight. I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. It's gonna be a long fight.
Yeah.
Remember, I was always fighting with separated ribs.
Yeah.
He was hitting me in that. So here's the story in this fight. After he dropped me, he was hitting me with you. If you watch the fight, he was hitting me in the body on the right hand in the rib. And for the next 3 or 4 rounds, every time I got hit in the rib, I'm looking at the floor like, I'm gonna take my knee right now. I'm done. Because every time you get hit, I feel like someone's stabbing you on the rib.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a knee and call it a career. And then I wait to the next round, and I get hit again. I'm it was really in my mind to say do it, but for some reason my body didn't do it.
Yeah.
But my mind already told my body, take a knee, you're done. That's it. And then by the time I knew it was the 6th or 7th round, I said, fuck no, man, I'm gonna beat this guy.
Yeah.
And I was ahead. I knew I was ahead in the fight. I knew I was doing well, but my rib was. And after that, man, the game plan worked to a T, and I won the fight. I won it convincingly, and it was a great fight for me. But man, this guy could fight. He could fight.
You don't often
hear
that the physical toughness outweighed the mental prowess.
Oh yeah. That's the part where you say, get me a guy who what's the saying? A fighter who trains 100% beats a guy with talent only who doesn't want to work 100%.
Right. Yeah.
That was one of those things. He had it all. And I'm telling people, oh, you just saying that because you beat him? I said, no, I didn't say that. Everyone said how good he was coming out.
Right.
Everyone expected how good he was supposed to be the next Oscar de la Hoya, the next Fernando Vargas. He was all those guys coming out, and that's why, because he was that good.
Yeah.
I just prepared myself to the best that I could. Our game plan worked. The game plan was to push him hard the first 4 rounds, and hopefully him being young and trying to keep up with me, that would tire him out, and then after that I could pick him apart. What I did, I was in such great. I always prided myself on the conditioning that I had, the way I worked, and so I pushed him hard all 10 rounds, and I won the fight pretty easy. Besides being dropped. But other than that, it was a great fight for me. And here's the thing that I like to talk to people about is, have you ever had to put a dog down? Have you ever had to put one of your pets down?
Oh yes, many times.
And have you ever noticed, like, the day before you do it, they always look like they feel great, or they look like they're like, maybe I shouldn't have to do this.
It's the best day of their life. Yeah.
Right. So that's happened to me. So I always tell people that was me in the Bojado fight, the Gotti fight. I was done.
Yeah.
My body couldn't do it.
Yeah.
My body couldn't do it anymore. I was done.
Now, obviously, 2023 has been a great year for boxing. We've finally seen some people making great fights, not so worried about losing their undefeated status, just getting together and making great fights, and almost restoring boxing like back to the glory days.
Yes.
Have there been any fights in 2023 that have stuck out for you, or any? We still got a couple months left. Obviously, we got the big showdown with Andrade and Benavidez. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
What's been the pinnacle of for you this year?
I don't know. You probably have to run by some fights that have happened. I'm sure I'm seeing them. I just can't.
Well, obviously we saw Crawford and Spence earlier.
Loma and Haney was a big possible robbery.
That was a great fight.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful fight and great fight. But what was the other one? When did Leonidas fight Haney? That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Remember that fight? I'm telling you, 10 more seconds and then Leonidas knocks him out.
We saw Teofimo and Josh Taylor was a good fight.
A good fight. Yep.
That's a good fight. Oh, but I was going back to Leo. What's the name of these? God dang it. Not Chifon Lopez. Jorge Linares. Yeah. When he had Haney hurt, 10 more seconds, he has him out.
Yeah.
He hurt him right at the back. I love that walk when he was walking everywhere. But that was a good fight. But the Teofimo Lopez and Haney was a great fight.
Yeah. And are there any guys out there right now boxing that you're particularly keeping an eye on or a big fan of what they're currently doing?
I love Canelo, of course.
Yeah.
I love the way he looked in this last fight.
Great.
He looked back to the old Canelo where he moved head moving and not,
In your opinion, though, to stop you from it, was it that Canelo looked really great or did Charlo look really awful? Or was it a combination of both?
I think Canelo looked really great.
Yeah.
He looked like the old Canelo. He looked like Canelo 3 years ago, 2 years ago. He looked great. Back to everything he was doing before. And I thought Charlo was eager to put it on him, but felt something different.
Yeah.
He was getting hit by a different guy than what he'd been hit before. You could tell after the first round he was done. He was like, I'm not going to hit by this guy.
Now obviously,
he didn't get knocked out, so that's like, if I don't get knocked out, I'm okay.
That's a feather in his cap. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's lots of potential matchups. Obviously, us doing a podcast, we're on a lot of the boxing Facebook sites, the social media sites. We see what the fans really want. Obviously, there's been a big call for a possible Canelo Benavidez fight. First of all, do you think we ever see that fight if Benavidez wins this fight?
I don't know. If anything, it should be Canelo's last fight.
Yeah.
Canelo turned pro when he was 15.
Yeah, and he's on a 3-fight deal right now, so he's still got a couple more.
That's a lot of wear and tear on a fight. Remember, I said it's not the fight; it's the training.
Yeah,
it's the sparring.
Yeah,
year after year, and he's been doing it since he was 15. He's an old 32-year-old guy.
Yeah,
he's an old 32-year-old guy, and look what he's doing. He's fighting these big guys. He's 5'7.5".
Yeah,
maybe 5'8".
Yeah.
It's crazy to think of what he's doing and fighting these guys. I think Benavidez is a strong puncher, tall guy. It's a tough fight for Canelo. Young.
Has Canelo officially taken the torch as the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, or is that still Julio Cesar Chavez?
Well, let me tell you about this. And the reason obviously, I think Canelo's the better fighter, right? Better technician.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But what was Chavez? The brawler, people want to see the brawl. People want to see the train wreck. People want to see the blood and guts, and because they don't care. But the game has changed. It's not that same way in Mexico anymore. These guys become fighters. They become boxers. And Canelo learned that from Mayweather.
Yeah.
Canelo was just a slugger, a brute guy that goes and knock you out. But when you get outboxed by guys like that, you start learning, I don't have to fight that hard. If I just fight smart.
Right.
I always tell people, don't fight hard, fight smart.
Yeah.
And my dad used to tell me this. My dad used to tell me, he called me Jimmy because I'm James, but he would call me Jimmy. He said, Jimmy, you don't ever want to be known as a tough fighter. You want to be known as a smart fighter.
Yeah.
I said, why, Dad? Why do you say? He goes, tough fighters get hit a lot.
Yeah.
Tough fighters have short careers.
Yep.
So you want to be known as a smart fighter.
Yeah.
And I had a 17-year career.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
57 fights.
Now, how is it?
No,
go ahead.
No. I'm going to ask him because we're here now. And we should ask him this right now. If you had to put anybody as the number one GOAT, who is that guy?
For you.
Ali.
Another Ali guy. We do hear Ali a lot.
And the reason I say that because he took on everyone that came in, and he lost some fights. But to be the great at everything, it's about your character too.
Yeah.
It's about what you stand for. It's about who you are. It's about how you are outside. You're in the ring, at what, 30 minutes in a big fight, right? And you're in training, but you're outside in the world much more than that. And
Yeah.
to me, it's you're judged on what you do outside more than what you do inside, because
Absolutely.
you're just in the ring very little. It's your sport, it's your job, the way you live your life and the way you are, and I love Mayweather's a great guy. He's just a great guy. I love Mayweather, but Ali, he changed the world. He changed of how people think. You when you touch and people do different things of you and of where you are, you do around the world, you're a special person.
Yeah. And arguably a guy who really changed the landscape of the game, because whether or not you like that aspect of it, I look at him as really the first guy that really brought entertainment and trash talk, you know what I mean, like, to boxing.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, look what people are doing now. They become boxers now.
Yeah.
Mayweather even brought it up even more so. But now you see people trying to move like Ali, speed. That's the name of the game. I always tell people, what's the name of the game? They say boxing. Yeah, it's not called slugging, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason why it's not called slugging.
Right.
It's called boxing. You box your opponent.
Yeah.
And it's not the key. It's not, but people want to see a train wreck. But you know what? When there's guys that I've seen this when I go to the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of world champions out there that are pretty messed up.
Oh yeah.
World champions.
Yeah.
Can you imagine guys how messed up they are that didn't win world titles?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Damn.
know. I've been up there and seen it first. I've been up there and seen it first. Yeah, I've been up there and seen it firsthand. Like, we literally live about 15 minutes away from the Hall of Fame.
While you're talking about the Hall of Fame, we're right in the backyard of the Canastota, New York, though. The International Boxing Hall of Fame. When are we going to run into Jesse James up there?
When will you be there again?
I don't know. I was hoping last year I would have gone, but I didn't get invited or go. But I usually go. They always invite us. They always invite the Texas guys to go out there. We all go up there together, which is fun. I love it out there. Ed Brophy does a great job. But I hope I'm up there. I think the last year they did 2 years, right? Because
they did. There was a big class. Yeah,
it was huge. Maybe that's why they couldn't bring in people, because they had so many other people coming in for the class. But I love it up there. It's the people are great. The homes, my wife loves the homes out there.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful part.
Listen, Jesse, stay where you are. Don't let her rope you into moving up here. You don't want to see these upstate New York winners. Trust me.
Hey, you know what? I complain when it's 60 degrees over here.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be up here right now. I got up and started my car this morning. It was like 30 degrees. So yeah. Stay right where you are. So let me ask, but before we wrap it up, how is life after boxing? How is business? How is the gym? How is everything going?
Man, I couldn't ask for a better deal than what I have right now, as far as my life, my kids. I get to work with my sons. My sons and I own the gym.
Right.
We have a gym here. We've had 3 of them here in San Antonio. We got rid of them all, opened one big one. It's like 8,000 square feet, 2-story building. Now we're looking at expanding and doing maybe a franchise of boxing gyms, or maybe just opening up 2 more. I may put one in Austin. All we do is train businessmen and businesswomen, stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, young kids to defend themselves. We teach the art of boxing.
Yeah.
In our fitness gyms, and we're packed. We have men in their 80s, women in their 70s. I train a lady 78 years old who has Parkinson's. We have men. We just train everyone. We train the Spurs. Most of our clients are, like I said, businessmen. We have millionaires. We got a billionaire in the gym. We have just so many. It's everybody, every walk of life that we have in our gym. Young kids who are bullied and they want to learn how to defend themselves. Women who want to learn how to defend themselves. We just have it all, and people love the sport. People love the class. We have like 8 trainers, and it's just one of the best things. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. And my name here in San Antonio is so strong, so good. I know everybody knows who I am.
Yeah.
As far as the judges, doctors, lawyers, police officers, just
you're a staple in the community. Yeah.
And I have a foundation that I've had. I have the longest running golf tournament here in San Antonio. 100% of the money that we raise goes to a league, a baseball league that I'm vice president. It's a miracle league. It's a baseball league for special need kids.
Oh,
And
nice.
we've had this for what 19 years now, and it's just great. And I love the work that my sons and I do here in town. Our name's very strong. We're good kid. We're good people. We just do what we can to help people. And
Yeah.
it's one of the things Ali said is that it, your your room in heaven is the rent that you pay down here by helping other people.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you're telling me right here on the Off the Couch Boxing podcast that if it's my time to get off the couch, I come down and see Jesse James. And
Yeah.
the boy.
I always tell people, if you want to get the best of yourself, be the best you that you can be, you'll come see me.
Yeah, he's not getting off the couch. Trust me.
Enough.
Well,
It's too cold, right?
it's too cold. It's too cold. Yeah, I'm staying here.
If you can't tell, me and him are father son.
Yeah.
So like you and your boys got the gym. This is what me and my dad got.
Yeah, this is our hustle. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine you get to do this with your dad?
Yeah.
My dad passed away in 2019. My dad and I were together every single day for 20 years.
Yeah.
Almost every single day because he was my trainer.
Yeah.
And my dad was a big boxer. I don't know if you know this. My dad was the first San Antonio to ever make it to the National Golden Gloves finals.
Yeah.
In 1958 or 59. I forgot. I always forget which year it was. I think it was 58. Then he turned pro after that, but he was so good. 112, he was a flyweight. He was so strong. He would knock everybody out, or he would get knocked out because back then, he had a job. He was just boxing for money.
Right.
He wasn't boxing to try to be a world champion, but he was so strong. He was the first San Antonio to make it to the National Golden Gloves finals, and that's a strong, big thing here in South Texas. But he wouldn't let me fight. They didn't want us fighting.
Yeah.
So I was 19. I decided to fight, and he said, "Well, I don't want to train you. I'm not gonna do anything." So I bought a heavy bag, put it in my garage. I put a double M bag in my garage, and he would see me training. And every once in a while, he'd come out and goes, "You should do this, do that," and go back inside. Remember, because my mom and dad didn't want us fighting. They didn't want us fighting. My mom knew how tough it is and how you get ripped off by a manager or whatever. And so he wouldn't do it. And then one day, my dad, about 2 months later, my dad goes, "If you want to do this, we should go to the gym." He saw something.
Yeah.
He goes, "Maybe we should go to the gym and see how you do." And
yeah,
went to the gym. 2 years later, I'm in the Olympic trials.
Yep.
Hey man, thank God that you were invested in yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
because the hardest critic, dude. My dad's sitting right here in the thing. Who you want to show your shit to is your dad. You want your dad to like what you're doing.
And that's it. But he saw something, and for him to, and even then, because I wasn't thinking of being a fighter, I was just getting in shape to do something. And I just said, I'll get 1 or 2 fights, and after that, it just didn't stop. And then we turned pro. I wasn't even thinking of turning pro, but I was in Olympic trials. I met a manager, Lester Bedford, who said, James, I think you may have something here. And I said, well, I'm not thinking about turning pro. I'm thinking of I want to become a firefighter or a police officer. I was just getting in shape to do that so I could go to it. And he said, you may have something. And I said, well, I guess so. And I turned pro.
I don't think there'd be anything worse right now in 2023 than being a police officer, though. It's not a great time to be a police officer.
I know, but
they got a tough gig.
They got it tough. Yeah. They really do. They really do. I mean, people are really flaunting their authority right now, and they're recording them and watching everything that they do. I mean, it's a tough time, especially post George Floyd. It's really a bad time.
Yeah, it's sad too.
They're under a lot of scrutiny. Yeah.
It's a sad. I have my own not philosophy, but things on what's going on in the world, and my religion. I always tell people my religion is peace and love.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
I don't care what you are. If you're good to me, I'm gonna be good to you. If you're good, and sometimes not even if you're good to me, because people treat me differently because of what I've done in my career.
Right.
I have a different job. That's the only thing I always tell people. I just had a different job. I'm no better than you. You're probably better than me. But I always treat people not how they treat me, is how they treat others. Like Muhammad Ali said, if I was the waiter, you probably would be. How would you treat me if I was the waiter?
Right.
I know how you treat me now, but if I was the waiter, how would you treat me?
Right.
And that's how I look at people. How do you treat other people? Not me. How do you treat other people?
Now, before we let you out of here,
they always say, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
Now, before we let you out of here, we've got to ask you the most polarizing question. Who won the fight between Hagler and Leonard?
I've always said Hagler.
Wow, another Hagler.
I've always said Hagler.
You wouldn't believe, Jesse, how much this fight still brings up, because obviously I mentioned earlier, doing this, we go into a lot of the boxing pages and a lot of the boxing groups on Facebook. And the minute you put something up about, and we've done this just to see, just to kind of get our name out there, get some traction or whatever, and when you put up anything between those two, it's still one of the most divided fights 35 years later. And it's still 50-50 right down the middle. Either people like Hagler's, relentless pursuit and cutting off the ring, or they like Leonard's pizzazz and showboating and flurries of punches.
So and I'm good friends with. I was great friends with Hagler, great friends with Leonard.
Both just great guys.
Great guys. But I always, this is back then, and I always tell people, boxing, where it's amateur and pro, are two different sports.
Yeah.
Amateur nowadays is, or even back then, is pity pat. Who scores the most points, right? And amateur boxing, you know, who scores the more pity pads. Just you have the surface and you hit as much as you can. That's how you win. And pros is a different sport. It's about power. It's about ring generalship. It's about hitting, hurting, move. Right? It's more of that. And to me, Hagler did that over Leonard's pity pad.
The debate rages on. Now I'll have to go back and watch it all over again, Jesse. Thanks a lot. No, I love watching that fight, though. I mean, it really is one for the ages. I just remember being 14 years old at that time, and that was really the first big fight that really had a buzz going through our school, the first really big fight that I remember,
And check this out. And, Hagler never got over this, right? That's
never. It was his last one. He was done right there.
Oh, I forgot what year it was. Hagler and Leonard were at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And we were on the back room. And we're inside the hotel.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not there anymore. Is it there anymore? Is it still there?
I don't know. They do a lot of the stuff now over at the casino.
Grimaldi's. You talking about Grimaldi's?
No, Days Inn. The Days Inn.
Days Inn. That's still there.
Yeah, that's still there.
Okay. Yep. That's where we would all stay. So in one of the conference rooms or whatever, we're all there, and Hagler and Leonard there. And Hagler's telling Leonard, I won. This is all these years later. This is about 2008, 2008, 2009, one of those years. And Hagler was telling Leonard, I won. Tell people I won. And Hagler's like, you're crazy, Hagler. You're crazy, man. He goes, I won. And Leonard was like looking at him like he was upset still. He never got over it.
Nope.
He never got over it because that changed his life.
Yeah.
He quit boxing after that, but he was saying, I won. You tell people I won. He was upset, like, whoa, man. And Leonard was like, yeah, he started laughing, like playing it off, but Hagler was not playing.
Yeah, we had his son James on here.
We had James on here, and he said his father moved away and changed, really completely changed.
Yeah.
Really changed.
And Hagler and I, every time he would call me every once in a while, or I'll call him and his wife, and they were just the best people in the world. And it was so sad to hear his passing because
another legend gone. Yep.
Yeah, but he was just a good guy, and I have so many great pictures of us hanging out, talking, and it was tough.
Well, we appreciate you doing this so much, Jesse, man. You're always a friend of the show, man. Well, hopefully we can keep in touch and we can do this again from time to time. We love having you.
So anytime you guys invite me to be on your show, I'm excited about it.
We appreciate it, Jesse. Thank you so much for doing it, buddy. It was good talking to you.
Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving and have a great Christmas. Okay.
You too. All the best to the family. Thank you so much, Jesse. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
There he goes.
There he is, folks. One of the true good guys in boxing, man. Really one of the true good guys. Can't say enough. Have talked to Jesse before in the past. Just really one of the true gentlemen in the sport, man. And, not a bad career. 47 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws. I mean, he went out there and he did his thing, man. And, as I said, man, got a lot of names on his resume, win, lose, or draw. Arturo Gatti, Costa
Even besides that, great guy in life, doing up, taking care of the regular Joe Schmoes who just trying to
family oriented.
Great guy.
Yeah. Awesome guy. Doing
the right things post-fight life.
Yeah, always doing the right things post-fight life. Just a really salt-of-the-earth guy, man. And as I said, he's got notable wins over Mickey Ward, for fuck's sake. Our buddy Ivan Mighty Robinson got a win over him. Couple wins over the professor himself. Azuma Nelson fought him 4 fucking times. I mean, nobody wanted to see Azuma Nelson once.
Hey, man, he said it, though. They were 1-1-1. They had to break that draw.
They had to do it. And even his losses, though. I mean, always a guy going out on a shield, giving it his all. I mean, even his notable losses are certainly not anything to hang a head over. Gaddy, Costa Zoo, Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya.
So far, not to bash anybody that's been on the show at all, take anything away from any of the interviews we've done, but Jesse James got to be one of the most humble guys I've talked to yet. Just the way he knew he lost his fights, was out on his feet. Was, going like at a tough time. And he just,
Yeah, not a guy feeding you and stringing you along and giving you a bunch of bullshit about, this was wrong or that was wrong.
Right.
Yeah. Just a guy that shoots straight from the hip, man, and, speaks from the heart, man. That was a real honor having him on. The Texas Tornado right there, folks. Jesse James LEIJA, man, himself in the flesh. Friend of the show.
Ask him, and this is just something I was really curious about. I don't know if you know because he's gone now, but Jesse James, his name is James LEIJA, obviously, but Jesse James, he just add that because of the Texas guy, Jesse James?
Maybe, yeah.
Just as like a little side nickname? I wonder if that's what that was.
Well, just put it in your, just lock it away. Lock it away in the back for next time, and I'm sure we'll have him back on very soon because he is a guy with obviously a lot of knowledge up here about the knuckle game, you know what I mean? And training people. And hey, let me also let all the NBA teams out there know, don't fuck with the San Antonio Spurs, man. Jesse James LEIJA's put them through their paces, man. They are not a team to rumble with.
Well, hey, man, if nothing else, they're getting that, I don't even know what to equate this to, but I remember Coach Cup, and he had his guys running a lot in the movie, and then the other team was tired in the fourth quarter, and he said in the huddle, this guy's going to miss the free throw because he's tired. And when he does, get it and do this. And that happened. He wasn't game. He was tired. He hadn't been doing that, putting that work in.
Yeah. Well, that was a great episode. I hope people enjoyed that. And I want to also remind people, if they're watching, please like and subscribe to the channel and be sure to follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook.
Yeah, and actually also follow us on TikTok because he's at Rex Ruger and I'm at Frank Benji's on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'm posting shit I'm trying to get more regular on there because I see that it does numbers over there. So
yeah. And feel free to reach out to us.
I'm gonna drop little snippets and stuff over there too.
And feel free to make suggestions, agree with us, disagree with us on any of our points of view. I mean, any kind of spirited debate, conversation.
Yeah, you got people you want to hear from. We might be able to get them. We might be able to find them.
We'll try to run them down. I don't want to divulge too much, man, but we still got a lot of great ones, still in our crosshairs, that will be coming up. And, obviously go to the page right now. There's 25 episodes up already of Off the Couch Boxing with a host of amazing legends and luminaries, I like to say, from the fight game. Just recently, we got to speak to the great Ike Abeabuchi, the fucking president. No one's going out and grabbing that one for you, folks, except Off the Couch Boxing.
Dude, we've had Iceman Scully, Breadman, Stevie Forbes, Ike Abeabuchi, Hector Camacho Jr. Now we got Jesse James LEIJA on the docket. We had Monty Barrett. We got guys.
Ivan Robinson, Donnie Lalonde.
Check them out, dude. They all got something going on.
Yeah. And I just recently had Kyron Davis. Just a lot of great interviews out there, man. A lot of great interviews and a lot more still to come, man. And of course, we'll still splash in our episodes once in a while. We got a few tricks up our sleeve, possibly being able to sit and watch fights with us commentating. We've got our takes on stuff, if it's a slow week for guests, which as of late it has not been. So, I mean, there's been no shortage of guests, and it doesn't look like I can tell our audience that there's going to be anytime soon any kind of drought as far as guests go.
I gotta just throw it out there one time for the one time, because I hope somehow somebody would see this and point it out to him. But tall Paul Williams, baby, you're in the crosshairs.
Yeah, P. Will. Yeah, come on, P. Will. I mean,
come see us on Off the Couch Boxing, because I love you to death, man.
Yeah. And we've got another interview tonight. We won't say with who. It is currently right now Saturday, November 11th. We got another good one tonight that we will be doing, and two tomorrow.
Big heavyweight tonight. Big heavyweight
tonight.
Back in the heavyweights tonight.
Yeah, and I will say tomorrow, one of tomorrow's interviews will be a very surprising, poignant, and touching episode that I think people, when they hear the story, if they don't already know the story, will certainly it'll tug at the heartstrings. We're going to have a bona fide saint on. Well, I don't know. Do you call a female a saint? I don't want to give away too much, but it is a female though. But a saintress? No, it's still a saint, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's such a thing as a saintress. I might have just made that up.
I don't know. You did.
That's how innovative we are in Off the Couch Boxing.
That was an Off the Couch Boxing original, saintress.
Yeah, a saintress. So, we will wrap this thing up, man. Again, thank you to the Texas Tornado, the one and only Jesse James LEIJA, for a great, poignant interview, man. As always, it's exactly what you expect out of Jesse James, man.
Working with that boy, Victor Wemby.
Yeah.
Getting the big rookie ready.
Yeah, you might be muscling around in the paint for now, but you won't be for long, though, man. Because Jesse James LEIJA is manning the ship. He's at the helm, and
he's working with the most highly touted rookie since LeBron.
Yeah, in a long time.
Since LeBron.
Yeah. Well, let's get the hell out of here, then, man, before people get bored.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I got to quote our great American poet Gary Busey and say that I can go 15 seconds with anything, right?
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I can go 15 seconds with anything. And we never even got to the Alexis Arguello question, but I do got to start including him in the episodes a little more, because he is sliding questions over to me sometimes. And, hopefully he forgives me.
He actually looks like he's yelling at you right now, saying, like, what the hell, Mark?
Yeah, he is. How come we didn't get to my question?
Right.
Well, we just didn't, man. I mean, Jesse James LEIJA threw a lot of great stories at us. He regaled us with a lot of history, and all in all, it was good. So I will remind you guys again, like and subscribe. Check Off the Couch Boxing out on Facebook. And I will tell you all, if you would like to be a champion, what you need to do outside of watching Off the Couch Boxing. Well, no, I guess this would include watching Off the Couch Boxing. Roll with us, right? Roll with the champs.